All right, guys, it's over. Wow. All right, guys, UFC 319 just wrapped up, and wow, that card, whoo, it was surprising in a lot of different ways, wasn't it?
I'm gonna end my life.
Yeah, I've got my friend here. I'm actually recording this at the apartment of a friend, and wow. First of all, I have to say that card was full of unexpected surprises. Starting with, well, it turns out that Hamza Chimaev is actually Marab. Or, if not Marab, he at least is Bilal, right, when it comes to his control. And then, of course, we had two spinning back elbows KOs back-to-back by Lerone Murphy and Carlos Prates. Insane, absolutely. But you know what this video is about. You know what I'm going to be talking about. And I've put enough vodka in me to the point where this video, it's going to go on for an hour. And you know what I'm going to be talking about here. Kai Asakura needs to be cut from the UFC now. Now, do it. I'm not even kidding. And there's a reason why I'm saying this. There's a reason why I'm saying this. And I'll put this out to all of you all the Japanese listeners who are, or viewers, okay, who have somehow stumbled across on my channel. もう日本人のファンにもここで言っとくんですけど、Tim Elliott follows me on Twitter. 僕はティム・エリオット選手に Twitter でフォローをもらってます。で、ティム・エリオット選手にと DM とかでも話してます。で、ティム・エリオット選手と Twitter でスペースもしてます。And just to translate that, Tim Elliott follows me on Twitter. Tim Elliott and I speak in DMs sometimes. I congratulated Tim Elliott after his win over Kai Asakura. And, well, Tim Elliott himself has said, if you cannot beat me, you should not be in the UFC. ティム・エリオット選手本人がね、俺に勝てなければ UFC にいるべきじゃないって言ってるんですよ。So, Tim Elliott, all right? He's saying, if you cannot beat him, you should not be in the UFC. And look, Tim Elliott, he considers himself to be a gatekeeper. He sees himself as a guy who is going to be in the bottom half of the rankings in the UFC. Okay? He sees himself that way. And still, Kai lost to him in what I have to say is embarrassing fashion. It's embarrassing, really. Because, like, Kai was doing well in the first round. Sure, like, Tim Elliott was landing some shots back. He was doing well at points. But Tim, alright, Tim just, as soon as Tim got a hold of Kai's neck, he just flipped him over and subbed him. Simple as, okay? And what did we learn from this fight? Well, it turns out that Kai doesn't know how to do a gator roll. That's what we learned from this fight. Oh, man. I'm gonna take another drink here. And yes, I am, I know that I might get, like, criticism from, like, all the Asakura fans because Kai is a big star here, but I don't care. I will post the full unedited audio of this on YouTube.
Unedited?
Yes, it's gonna be unedited. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have my friend. I'm recording this at the house of a friend. Well, the apartment of a friend who runs a channel called Decadent. He makes videos about Japanese host clubs. Please make sure to go and check it out. But, and I mean, those are really good videos. But, anyways, I thought that Kai was gonna win, okay? And the reason why is because I thought that, considering the fact that, Kai was able to knock out Juan Archuleta, who Tim Elliott trains with, and who Tim Elliott has probably learned a lot about Kai Asakura from. I thought that, Kai was gonna be able to get it done. But it turns out his ability to defend submissions is just oh man. I made a video on this, okay? I forgot how long ago it was. Could you please look it up? Decadent? I made a video on this called Why Japan is Struggling in the UFC. And I said, the problem with many Japanese fighters is that they're specialists. Oh, right, yeah, okay. I published the video, Why Japan is Struggling in the UFC. I published that on March 31st. So I published it basically 4 months ago. 4.5 months ago. And, well, it turns out I'm correct in the end. Because Kai cannot defend submissions at all. And, I haven't watched the fight over yet. In fact, actually, Decadent, could you please, show me the fight as I record this video? Because my impression of this bout, okay, was that Kai was defending the wrestling pretty well, okay? Kai was defending the wrestling pretty well. There were exchanges where when Tim pushed Kai up against the fence, Kai kind of just shucked him off. Kai got his underhooks, he just kind of scooped him off, and I was like, ooh, okay. Tim, he told me personally that he likes upper body takedowns much more, and if Kai is able to kind of get his underhooks and is able to kind of push Tim off, then yeah, there's a good chance that Kai could outstrike him on the feet and knock him out, maybe even. Although Tim has a chin, I'll tell you that. But it turns out, as soon as it becomes a jiu-jitsu exchange on the ground, Kai can't defend anything. All right, yeah, Decadent here is pulling up the fight itself now. I need more alcohol. Look, I made an entire video. It has 100,000 views on YouTube, talking about how the UFC pushes degeneracy. And here I am. I probably had... How many shots? How many shots at this point? I've had quite a bit of alcohol. Yeah, I took all of Decadent's vodka. Decadent, he gets all of his vodka from the host clubs that he used to work at. So Decadent って有志みたいに元ホストなんですよ。And just to translate what I said right there, a Decadent, there's like a UFC, there's a, not a fucking UFC fighter, Jesus. There's a Ryzen fighter named Yushi who used to work as a former host. And yeah, okay, I'm rewatching the fight right now. Okay, so Kai is landing these strong right hands, and he's getting good left hooks on him as well. And Tim is just shrugging all these shots off. Okay, here's another thing. All right, Kai was doing good work to the body here in the first round. He was doing some good work to the body, especially with that left hook to the body, that shoveling left hook. But if you're throwing shots to the body, you should have enough fight IQ to know that you can knock an opponent out using body shots. And I know that. I know that Kai Asakura has the fight IQ to be able to do that because he knocked out Yuki Motoya in Ryzen with a knee to the body. But instead, Kai kept on throwing a left hook, right hand, or right hand, left hook to Tim Elliott's face. And guess what? If you look at Tim Elliott's stance, Tim Elliott, alright, in many cases, he stands, alright, with his weight on his rear leg, okay? He stands with his weight on his rear leg. And specifically, if you want to see an example of this from this fight specifically, go to 1 minute and 50 seconds, okay? And I'm just going to translate here for the Japanese audience, if you're watching. And I'm not going to dub this video over, but y'all can, like, I'm sure they can watch with the automatically generated captions, but エリオットっていつも後ろ足重心なんですよ。で、これの、まあ、例を見たければ、試合の1分50秒にを見てください。エリオットっていつも後ろ足重心です。だからパンチを打ってもそのままちょっとこのスウェイをすることでパンチの威力を結構下げることができるんですよ、エリオットは。Anyways, already just got done translating, and I actually took another drink of vodka right there. So I am fully drunk now, but right now I'm currently rewatching the 30-second. Okay, this is 28, 27. Yeah, I'm rewatching the end of round 1. So the end of round 1, Kai Asakura throws I think it was a left high kick. Tim Elliott catches it, and then Tim Elliott catches it, and he takes Kai down, and he puts him into side control. But then, at the very end of the round, Kai stands back up. And when I saw that, I was like, yes, he's got it. Kai has got it. He's finally got wrestling. Oh man, he fooled me so well there. Oh my god. I had so much hope when I saw that. I was like, holy shit, like, Kai figured it out. Kai finally learned how to defend takedowns. Like, I was like, holy shit, are we looking at, like, the flyweight JDM? And I mean, we already have the flyweight JDM. His name is Joshua Van, but, yeah. You know, I thought, like, maybe we had, like, the Japanese flyweight JDM, right? In Kai Asakura. But no, round 2 starts, okay? And I'm gonna do, like, a live play-by-play commentary of round 2, alright? So, round 2, 450, 449. Alright, Kai Asakura, he's dancing around the edge of the octagon. He's probing with his left hand. But he's not jabbing. Why isn't he jabbing? Alright? Okay, Tim Elliott, he has a bit of like a shoulder roll. Okay, Tim Elliott, he's constantly switching stances. Ooh, he cracks Asakura with the left hand at 430. Alright. Okay, Asakura finally jabs. Oh! Asakura lands a nice left hook right there at 424. Yes. Right, good job there, Kai. Alright. 413, 412, 411. Ooh, okay. Asakura is finally probing with the left hand. He's probing, but he's not really feinting with it, is he? Okay, nice calf kick from Asakura there at 4 minutes and 1 second. Alright. Looks like we're doing something, okay. But Tim Elliott's pressuring. He's pressuring. Tim Elliott's feinting that left hand. And if you look at 3 minutes and 49 seconds, you can see how bad Tim's striking technique is. All right? You can see how bad it is if you look at 3 minutes and 48 seconds. Or 3 minutes and 49 seconds. Where Tim is like swinging right hook, left hook from southpaw position, and it's just terrible technique. You know, sorry, Tim, but your technique there was terrible. I'm just telling you that. It doesn't matter, though, because you're a better fighter than Kai, and you proved that. But I'm just saying, like, your technique there was terrible. I'm sure I have worse technique, but, like, I'm just saying, you know. Anyways, that was just in case Tim somehow stumbles across this video. Because I'm going to post this on Twitter, and he follows me on Twitter, so he might see this. I'm just saying.
No offense.
Yeah, no offense. You're still better than Asakura. I'm just saying. Like, the fact that, like, a guy with that bad technique ended up losing.
No, we do like Tim Elliott, though.
We do like Tim Elliott. And Tim Elliott, like, he's chill.
Yeah. Yeah, very cool.
Like, throughout this entire fight build-up, he was, like, really chill. You know, I've always liked Tim Elliott. Like, ever since, you see, I got into the UFC pretty late, so I didn't see Tim, you know, like, win the Ultimate Fighter or anything, but I saw that submission of Sumerderji, and I was like, that was sick. I remember thinking, oh, Sumerderji, you know, he has this in the bag, but when I saw Tim just, like, crank his neck when he submitted Sumerderji, I was like, that is an unk. But anyways, back to the fight. All right, we're at 2 minutes, 158, 157, 156. All right, Asakura lands a right hand. 1-2 from Asakura. Oh, and then Tim goes for a double leg. All right, Tim takes the back. But Asakura stands up and shrugs him off, right? So you see, Kai, if you look at 1 minute and 41 seconds into this fight, you'll see that Kai actually has some of the wrestling to be able to deal with this, okay? Kai has some of the wrestling to be able to deal with Tim Elliott. Like, he's improved since the Pantoja fight. But then, at 1 minute and 23 seconds, the takedown happens, all right? Actually, let's rewind. Let's rewind just a little bit, all right? Okay, I'm going to rewind to 1 minute and 47 seconds so that we can see the entire finishing sequence here. Ooh. I'm sorry, Deccan. Can you please get me more alcohol so that I can get through this? Oh, man. This is going to be, like, the lowest quality video that I've had in, like, a long time. A long time. It's actually, yeah. This is going to be the lowest quality video. Holy shit. Okay. All right. Wait a second. All right. Let's just scroll back a little bit. All right. You see, I'm currently drinking what is this?
Straight vodka.
Yeah, I'm drinking straight vodka. That's how I'm coping with this. Like, if you thought that MMA Chase copes about Charles Oliveira getting knocked out, bro, my coping methods, man, they don't stand a chance. You know, MMA Che ruins his bank account with gambling. Okay, I ruin my health. I'm gonna destroy my liver. I'm gonna destroy my liver tonight. Oh man. Okay, we did a rewind. Okay, we're back at 123, 122. All right, and then Tim Elliott shoots a reactive takedown at 123. Okay, he uses a reactive takedown because Asakura threw a right hand. Tim Elliott ducks under it. He does a reactive takedown, and Asakura is now in full guard. All right, he's in full guard now. Full guard. Usually, it's a pretty it's not a disastrous position, but then Kai for some reason. All right, let's just scroll back. All right, Kai opens his guard in order to probably stand up, I think. And then he just gives up his neck, okay? He just gives up his neck at 52 seconds. And this is the end. Kai just gives up his neck, and Tim puts him in a guillotine and just subs him. It's just... I'm rewatching 036, 034, 033, 031, 030, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, and he taps! I'm gonna rewatch the finishing sequence. Because what this says, okay? What this says, because you're going from full guard, okay? Full guard. Remember, if you're in full guard, you need, and Asakura, I actually have this fight paused at exactly 1 minute and 13 seconds, okay? Yeah, okay, put it on slow motion, okay? Put it on slow motion, okay. Asakura, Kai Asakura, Asakura Kai ne? Hi. He has full guard, and he has his legs closed. If you have your legs closed in full guard, you can hold anybody. You can hold anybody in full guard if you have your legs closed. All right? But instead of just keeping his legs closed and being like, all right, I'm just going to take this round off because I've been taken down, Kai Asakura opens his legs and he tries to stand up, but he's doing nothing to defend his neck. He's doing nothing to defend his neck, and you can see here at 0 minutes and 52 seconds, he's doing nothing to defend his neck. I'm going to rewind 10 seconds. He's doing nothing to defend his neck. And, like, he opens his guard at 0 minutes and 54 seconds. 0 minutes and 53 seconds. I think Kai here at 0 minutes and 53 seconds, he's trying to shrimp out here. But you see, if you look at specifically 0 minutes and 53 seconds into round 2, you'll see that Kai is trying to shrimp out away from Elliot. But Kai isn't rotating his hips enough here. He's not rotating his hips enough. And as a result, he's not getting far enough away from Elliot. Kai shrimps. All right. Then Elliot just sprawls on top of him. Kai has both of his hands on the mat. He's not defending the choke at all. He doesn't have a single hand on Elliot's wrist. And then, okay, sorry. I'm sorry about your computer. I'm sorry, Jack. Get it. Okay, with 0 minutes and 51 seconds, and then just Elliot just subs him. Okay, and look. Oh man, we're already 23 minutes in. It's just not worth looking at anymore because, look, that finishing sequence, like, if you just controlled Elliot's right hand with even just a single arm, he could have avoided that. Yeah, exactly. If Kai Asakura had just kept him in guard, like, Kai could have, like, just taken that round off and won. And that just was disappointing. Okay? He could have won. Like, look, Kai was piecing Elliot up on the feet. He was piecing him up. He was like, like the first round, he was landing some nasty shots. Kai was the superior striker in the cage. But as soon as Kai made one single mistake, which was opening his guard. Okay, so the first mistake was opening his guard. The second mistake was not immediately fighting the hands as Elliot got his neck. Okay. And then the third mistake, of course, was not gator rolling. All right. Well. So Kai basically made three mistakes. First one was opening his guard. Second mistake was not fighting the hands. Third mistake was not gator rolling as like an emergency response. But bro, losing to Tim Elliott.
I mean, Tim Elliott's the one. He's like, if you can't beat me, you don't belong in the UFC.
Exactly.
LOL.
All right, and here's the thing. Look, Kai Asakura is a greater man than I will ever be. Kai Asakura, he's richer, he's more handsome, he's taller. I probably bench press more than Kai Asakura, which could be a possible reason why he lost. Because I've benched 130 kilograms or like 300 pounds before, which is probably more than Kai has ever benched, but that's besides the point. Kai Asakura could probably submit me. Kai Asakura is a better wrestler than me. But here's the thing. Losing to Tim Elliott, who's 38 years old, who has a losing record in the UFC, by the way. Tim Elliott was 9-11 in the UFC. Okay? 9-11. He's lost to... Okay. Can you please, pull up Tim Elliott's Tapology right now? Tim Elliott, he himself has said that he is a gatekeeper. Okay? That he is a gatekeeper who, if you lose to him, you do not deserve to be in the UFC. That is what Tim Elliott has said. Himself. だからね、アサシン、まだもしこの動画を見てるんだったら、ね、まだこの動画を見てるんだったら、ね、見てる？まだ聞いてる？
This video is so chaotic with the Japanese.
Of course it's chaotic. だからアサシンね、まだもしこの動画をまだ見てるんだったら言いたいんだけど、エリオット選手本人がもし俺に負けたら UFC にいるべきじゃないって言ってるんですよ。And just to translate what I said, I just told all of Kai Asakura's fans, Tim Elliott himself has said, if you are in the UFC and you lose to Tim Elliott, you should not be in the UFC. And, well, guess who lost to Tim Elliott? Guess who lost to Tim Elliott? Exactly. Now, let's look on the bright side, okay? Tim Elliott, low-key, has been doing pretty well recently. Because Tim Elliott, his UFC record is 10 wins and 11 losses.ティメリオット選手の UFC の戦績は、朝倉海戦を含めて10勝11敗なんですよ。So yeah, Tim Elliott, 10 wins, 11 losses in the UFC. And let's look at Tim Elliott's wins, okay? Here they are. Kai Asakura guillotine choke, 4 minutes 39 seconds, round 2. Alright, that's just what happened. Sumadurji, arm triangle choke, 4 minutes and 2 seconds, round 1. So we know who Kai Asakura should fight next if he, stays in the UFC and doesn't get cut, like I'm saying. Muhammad Makayev, arm triangle choke, round 3, 3 minutes and 3 seconds. So, yeah, Muhammad Nukaev, of course, is better than Tim Elliott. Although, low-key in that fight, Tim Elliott was kind of winning for the first 2 rounds. Victor Altamirano, all right? So Tim Elliott won that. Wait, let me check. Victor Altamirano, I'm pretty sure he got cut. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Victor Altamirano got cut because Victor Altamirano got cut because he went 2 wins and 4 losses in the UFC. All right, so I'm pretty sure he got cut, and he was on a 3-fight loss streak when he lost. He's been on a 3-fight loss streak. But Tagir Ulanbekov, this is like the one guy where I'm like, damn, Tim Elliott, you did well. Because Tagir Ulanbekov, of course, he trains with Team Khabib. The dude is beating like pretty good guys like Azat Maxim. He beat Clayton Carpenter. Tagir Ulanbekov is a solid fighter. But, of course, Tim, I'm pretty sure you're not listening at this point, but I'm just going to say, I'm just going to put this out there, but yeah, Tim cheated a lot in that fight. So yeah. Man, this is like my 5th shot of vodka. I'm incredibly drunk now. Wow. Man, I haven't been this drunk in like 6 months.
I think you've had a lot more than 5 shots.
Exactly.
You're getting glasses of vodka.
I think I've finished like a 1/4 of a bottle or something like that at this point.
It's more than 5
Woo. Still, the one thing I'll say is I probably haven't said anything that will get me demonetized yet, so I think I'm still in the clear. Anyways, Tagir Ulanbekov. Tim beat him, but then Tim had a loss to Mateus Nicolau. Okay, that was back in 2021, when I'm assuming Tim was like 33 or probably like 34, something like that. Tim lost by unanimous decision. Mateus Nicolau is no longer in the UFC. Okay, so Victor Altamirano, not in the UFC. Mateus Nicolau, not in the UFC. Okay, let's look at Jordan Espinosa. Oh, yeah, Jordan Espinosa, pro MMA record of 15-10? Yeah, he's not in the UFC. I can tell. Yeah, okay. Tim Elliott's, the guy that Tim Elliott beat back in 2021, yeah, he got cut from the UFC. He took a fight in Combate Global, and he lost by rear naked choke to a guy who's 22-9. All right, but before Jordan Espinosa, Tim Elliott beat a guy named Ryan Benoit, who was 10-6. Okay, and this was during COVID, and yeah, of course, of course, you would have to bring in guys who are not UFC caliber during COVID because you have to fill cards, right? Because travel restrictions and all of that. But gosh, man. At least Jordan Espinosa and Ryan Benoit, at least they went to a decision with Tim Elliott. And they went to a decision with Tim Elliott back in 2020 and 2021. All right? Yeah. Back in 2020 and 2021. Back when Tim Elliott was... Okay, so... 2020, that's back when Tim Elliott, he was like 33, 34, 32, back in his prime, as opposed to 38 years old at flyweight. Oh, man. Oh, but before Ryan Benoit, okay? Before Tim Elliott got his win over Ryan Benoit, he had a 3-fight loss streak to Brandon Royval, Askar Askarov, and Davison Figueiredo. And now, none of those losses are actually that bad. Brandon Royval, we know how good he is. We know how good Brandon Royval is. We know how good Askar Askarov is. Askar Askarov has a win over Pantoja. Davidson Figueiredo, we of course know how good he is. He has a win over Pantoja. Davidson Figueiredo, he's like probably like the third best or the second best flyweight of all time, depending upon like how you judge him versus Pantoja, right? But still, that's a 3-fight loss streak back in 2019, 2020, and 2020 in what would consider. Oh fuck! I'm so drunk. What would be considered to be Tim Elliott's prime, right? Because that's when he's in like his like early to mid 30s. Okay. Although, arguably, a flyweight's prime might come even earlier than that, but still, that was when Tim Elliott was young. That was when he was like losing to Davison Figueiredo, Brandon Royval, etc. But yeah. Anyways, I think I'll leave it there. But oh man, brother. 10-11 in the UFC, and Kai Asakura, the two-time Ryzen bantamweight champion, gets subbed in the second round. It's gonna be difficult for me to glaze Ryzen for quite a while now. Until Shade Alive goes to the UFC and like does something like KO Petr Yan in the first round, I'm not going to be able to glaze Ryzen for a while. Because this is humiliating. I'm going to be completely honest. This is humiliating, and I don't think anybody should pretend that this is humiliating. Okay? Because, look, Tim Elliott, if you look at the Ryzen flyweight not the Ryzen flyweight rankings. Gosh, Ryzen doesn't even have rankings. If you look at the UFC flyweight rankings, wow, I have a lot of notifications on Twitter right now. I'm gonna just pull up the UFC rankings right now. I'm pretty sure if you look at the UFC rankings, okay, like Tim Elliott is probably the only guy at flyweight who's like over 38 years old. Okay, so I'm just gonna pull up men's flyweight here. Okay, men's flyweight here. So Alexandre Pantoja, all right. Yeah, he's 35 years old. Okay. Joshua Van, of course, 23 years old. Brandon Moreno, 31 years old. Brandon Royval, 33 years old. Armil Albazi, 31 years old. Tatsuro Taira, of course, our final hope in Japan, our final hope among Japanese fighters, 25 years old. Kai Kara France, 32 years old. Manel Cape, 31 years old. Alex Perez, 33 years old. Asu Amabayev, 31 years old. Steve Herseg, 30 years old. Tim Elliott, ranked number 11, 38 years old. Ramazan Timarov, I don't know how old he is, but he's certainly younger than Elliott. Bruno Silva, 35 years old. So, Tim Elliott is far and ahead the oldest flyweight on the roster. Tim Elliott was almost certainly given to Kai Asakura as a layup. Okay? He was given to Kai as a layup. Okay, I'm gonna be completely honest, okay? Tim was supposed to be the guy who lost to Kai. But somehow, Kai lost to Tim. And now I'm coping. This crash out, this crash out is gonna be generational. I'm still drinking.
Yes, I'm honored to witness it live.
You see, Decadent just said, I'm not sure if the mic picked it up correctly, but he just said, I'm honored to witness it live. Because, wow, this was bad. Yeah, at least my video on why Japan is struggling in the UFC is, at least it aged pretty well. My video on Khamzat Chimaev aged terribly because it turns out that Khamzat Chimaev has 5-round cardio, probably 6-round cardio, but you know, who knows? It turns out that, you know, the only Japanese fighters who have like, you know, who have like grappling, wrestling, and striking are Kyoji Horiguchi and Tatsuro Taira, and well, like with Kyoji Horiguchi, he really doesn't have a chin at this point because he got dropped by Nkanzimulo Zulu, right? And of course, like, I'm sure nobody knows what I'm talking about at this point because Nkanzimulo Zulu, like, he lost on the Ultimate Fighter, and he's never been in the UFC, and he's been like an EFC champion. He's not UFC level. He lost to like a guy who does pachinko named Yuki Ito, who lost to a guy named Makoto Shinryu, who lost to a guy named Jose Torres, who I'm friends with. And Jose Torres, he went 1-1 in the UFC. Jose Torres is low-key UFC level because he beat Amir Albazi. But anyways, what I'm saying is Nkanzimulo Zulu, who dropped Kyoji Horiguchi, he isn't UFC level. And Kyoji, like, he was UFC level because, you know, of course, he was on a big win streak in the UFC, and he got a title shot against Demetrius Johnson, and he lost. But, you know, he survived until the 5th round where he got submitted by an armbar. But, like, Kyoji, he's pretty old now. He's 34 years old. Please, God, I hope, Kyoji, if you're watching this, I know that you speak English. I'm just going to speak in English right here. Please, Kyoji, please tell me that you have a chin, that you can still take a shot, because, like, you and Tyra are the only hopes left. But anyways, oh, man. Like, Kyoji Horiguchi, and Tatsuro Taira, they are the only hopes left for Japan in the UFC. But anyways, it's at this point in the video. I'm sure that most of you aren't listening at this point because it's just a drunken rant by me. But I'm just gonna go check Twitter. So, I congratulated Tim Elliott after his win, and Tim Elliott, I'm gonna probably post this on the video right here. I said congratulations to Tim Elliott, and he said thank you, and I said the crash out in Japan is gonna be insane, and Tim Elliott said he's got a long career ahead of him, just a minor setback, and I said I'm not sure about that since he's 31 and he's already set for life. I don't think he has that hunger in him. What message would you give Japan? Also, if you have the time, would you like to do another Twitter space with you? We'd like to do another Twitter space with you. And I'm saying that because I did a Twitter space with him. And then I told him, you're a hero. Or even better, a villain. I can't believe I'm sending him this stuff, man. I nearly said a swear word there, but of course, if I said a swear word, YouTube would demonetize me. But Tim Elliott, I just wanted to say, Tim is number one. Tim's a great guy, and number two, I forgot what I was gonna say. I legit forgot. I'm literally at a loss for words. What was I gonna say? I'm pretty sure I was gonna say, Tim and I are friends, so I'm gonna be able to cope through that. But of course, that's not good cope, because you have to understand, like, the entire weight of Ryzen as a promotion and Japan as a country was riding on Kai Asakura in this fight. And honestly, losing this fight was worse than losing to Pantoja, because losing to Pantoja, okay? Losing to Pantoja, that's fine. Pantoja is like the second or third best flyweight of all time, okay? And the only reason why he's the second or third best flyweight of all time is because Kai Asakura just got submitted by Tim Elliott, and, we can't rate Pantoja's defense against Kai Asakura as highly because Tim Elliott did the same thing to Kai Asakura that Pantoja did. Well, not exactly the same thing, but, the end result is the same because it's a round 2 submission, right? But, losing to Tim Elliott by submission when, Ben Nguyen, not Ben Nguyen. Ben Nguyen submitted Tim Elliott in the first round. That's not good. I'm pretty sure Ben Nguyen is not in the UFC. That was back in 2017, right? Yeah, Ben Nguyen, he got released from the UFC, and he actually got knocked out by Koshi Horiguchi at Ryzen 15 in 2019. That's not a good look, because Tim Elliott lost to him. Losing to Tim Elliott, when Tim Elliott, he's 38 years old, he's coming off an injury. He had a win over Sumer Durji, but Sumer Durji, he lost to Matt Schnell. And, Tim Elliott, he lost to Mateus Nicolau. He lost to Brandon Royval. He lost to Askar Askarov. He lost to Davison Figueiredo. Like, I do think that, like, Tim Elliott, he's underrated, but he also took Jordan Espinosa to a decision. He took Ryan Benoit to a decision. Kai Asakura got submitted by him out of his prime, right? When he was at 38 years old. I don't know what to say at this point, because this is a indictment of whatever the hell has been going on in Japanese MMA. All right, I'm just going to read my Twitter now. Okay, so it's funny because Fun Fiona is saying, stay away from toasters for a little bit. Look, the entire reason why I started my channel, okay, I'm just going to say this right here. The reason why I started my channel was because I wanted to create a video about why Kai Asakura was getting an immediate title shot, Okay, and I did this back in October of 2024. And I was like, all right, nobody knows who Kai Asakura is. But Kai Asakura, he's a massive star in Japan. He has a lot of star power here. All right? So I would be able to bridge that gap between Japan and the rest of the world. And I will be able to tell you, all right, so Kai Asakura is a big star in Japan. He has 1.2 million subscribers on YouTube. His brother has 3 million subs on YouTube. And they have their own fight promotion called Breaking Down. I would explain all of that, and that's what I did. But turns out, Kai, when he's dealing with a guy who has legit submission grappling, it's just terrible. Alright, I'm just reading the comments. There's a guy called I Bet on Fights on Twitter who's saying, send him back to ZST. I agree. If you're wondering, ZST, it's one of like the promotions, it's one of the regional promotions in Japan. And I've said, we need to send Kai back to Deep. And Deep is another regional promotion in Japan. Look, if we send Kai back to Ryzen, that's just going to be a bad look for Ryzen. If Kai gets another win in Ryzen, whew, I'm sorry, but that's a bad look for Ryzen. Would you agree? Would you agree, Mr.?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's a bad look for Ryzen because your number one big star, who's selling on stadiums, or rather, your number two big star, is losing Tim Elliott in the UFC, and Tim Elliott himself is telling people like me, and I mean like I'm not like a big time MMA YouTuber or anything like that, or an big time MMA Twitter user or anything like that. If he's telling me straight up, man, if you lose to me, you shouldn't be in the UFC. If he's telling me stuff like that, like, bro, maybe not like restart at like Deep or ZST, because those are both Japanese regional promotions. Maybe take a fight in like LFA or something like that, or UAE Warriors, or like Brave CF. Brave CF. Kai Asakura needs to fight in Brave CF. Would you agree? Would you agree, Decadent?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. Yes. Kai Asakura needs to take a fight in Brave CF against. Let me look this up. Could you please go to Brave? Let me think. Could you please go to Jose Torres's Tapology? Okay, Jose Torres's Tapology. There's like one guy that he lost to in Brave CF. Yes, Diaz Yerengaipov. Yes, Diaz Yerengaipov. He's 17-3 in Brave CF. He's from Kazakhstan. He's a flyweight. He's currently on an 8-fight win streak in MMA. I think that would be a good fight for Kai. And the reason why I say that is because, they're similar ages. Yerengaipov, he's 30 years old. Kai's 31. It's like, let's test if Kai is actually UFC level. That's just what I'm saying. And when I say UFC level, I'm not saying ranked UFC level or championship UFC level. I'm saying unranked UFC level. I want to see if Kai can beat Jesus Aguilar or, let me think. Who else is there in the UFC? I'm pretty sure Carlos Hernandez got cut, right? Did Carlos Hernandez? Yeah, Carlos Hernandez got cut. Who else is still? I swear to God, Kai at this point might take Shannon Ross to a decision. Shannon Ross. But then again, Shannon Ross wasn't UFC level, so. Let me just look up the Tapology flyweight rankings. Just gonna look up the Tapology flyweight rankings. Also, the worst matchmaking possible for a fight after this would be Kai Asakura versus Ray Tsuruya, because that wouldn't prove anything. That would just be Japan versus Japan, and it would suck. Just did another drink there. Alright, I'm just going to look through the Tapology, the current best MMA flyweights rankings. Alright, let's just go through it. Pantoja, Kai lost to him. Van, Kai loses to him. Moreno, Kai loses to him. Royval, Kai loses. Tyra, Kai loses. Cape, Kai loses. Kara France, Kai loses. Albazi, Kai loses. Almabayev, Kai loses. Sergey, gosh. Sergey Pavlovich versus Kai Asakura. Oh man, no. We can't see that fight. Urseg. I thought that Kai would have a chance against Urseg, but not after that showing. Tigir Ulambekov, Kai loses. Perez, Kai loses. Temirov, Kai loses. Johnson, Kai loses. Silva, Kai loses. Andre Lima, Kai loses. Loner Kavanaugh, Kai loses. And look, Loner Kavanaugh, he's 9-0. He's an undefeated prospect who's fighting Charles Johnson. Why is Loner Kavanaugh below Kai Asakura in the Tapology flyweight rankings? Makes no sense. Rafael Estevam, same thing. Why isn't he above Kai Asakura in the flyweight rankings? Sure, Rafael Estevam, he missed weight, but still, I'm pretty sure Kai loses there. Jose Ochoa, that's decently competitive, but I still think Kai might lose. It might be like a split decision. Alan Nascimento, Cody Jordan. You know, like, we need Cody Jordan coming off of like 3 straight KO losses in order to secure Kai Asakura's his flyweight UFC win. Just checking the notifications. And look. I just posted this on Twitter, where I said, I posted this ironically because he was a lock. But seriously, at this point, send him back to deep. And I posted this tweet because I thought that Kai was going to win. So I posted a tweet where I said, we sleep Pantoja in the rematch. We will make flyweight a marquee division. We will replace slutty ring girls with cute maids. We will make UFC into a real-life anime. We will rob Joshua Van in our first title defense. And I was saying this as like a joke because I thought that Kai was going to win. I thought that Kai was going to knock Tim Elliott out. But it turns out Kai does not have submission defense. But we need to send Kai back to deep. We should. And I think that like the majority of fans in Japan agree with me. So I'm just gonna... Okay, how long are we into this video? Damn, we're like... Okay, we're basically nearly an hour in. Okay. I'm just gonna check. Ugh. I'm sorry if I'm just sighing throughout this part of the video, because this is pure cope. Just put it on as like a ASMR video in the background, because this is a disaster. This is a disaster. Indeed.
But we know Kai's not gonna go down right to a worse division. He's too rich.
You mean worse
He's just gonna
promotion?
retire if they try to make him, if that's his option.
Okay, so I don't know if you heard that right there, but Decadent is saying. Also, I'm not gonna cut that out or anything. Decadent is saying, he's not gonna be sent back to like a worse division or a worse promotion or anything like that. No, I think that Kai needs to be cut.
He doesn't get back into Ryzen, he's retiring.
Yeah. Okay, so like the problem with Kai. Okay, here's what I'll explain. The problem with Kai is, do you send him back to Ryzen, or does he retire at this point? I lost my train of thought because I was looking at Twitter.
He can definitely fight in Ryzen if he wants to. Yeah, because of his fame.
Yeah, you see, Kai, he could fight in Ryzen because of his clout and fame. But would I want Kai to win in Ryzen? No. No. And the reason why, it's pretty simple. It's because Kai has significantly diminished the stock of Ryzen by losing in such fashion. In such a fashion. Wow.
Yeah, he left as champion of Ryzen. Right, he gave up the belt.
Yeah, Kai lost as champion of Ryzen. He was the two-time Ryzen Bantamweight champion. He knocked out Juan Archuleta, who was the guy who fraud checked Patchy Mix. The first time, the guy who fraud checked Patchy Mix the first time, that's Juan Archuleta, and he was overweight against Kai, and Kai knocked him out. But it doesn't matter. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
So, do you think the rules in Ryzen protected him, where, like the grappling exchanges are broken up pretty quickly, stuff like that? Is that what protected him?
Alright, so I'm not sure if you guys all heard that from Decadent, because I'm not sure if you guys picked that all up, but he just said, do you think that the grappling rules in Ryzen protected him? At this point, I honestly think maybe. I need to go rewatch all of his fights in Ryzen, but dear God. Dear God.
He's beaten plenty of people that are probably better than Tim Elliott. Like, it's just kind of weird that he regressed, seemingly, and he should be hitting his prime.
Yeah, so Decadent said right there, he should be. I'm not sure if like the audio is correct.
Okay.
He just said right there, Decadent, that Kai should be beating people who are better than Tim Elliott. Or he was beating people that were better than Tim Elliott. But it turns out, like, I know there's people like Issa MMA. Okay, so Issa MMA is like a Japanese Twitter account where he's like a big fan of Bilal, and he kind of likes to make fun of Kai Asakura. But what I have to say is,
What do you have to say?
I forgot my brain is fried. I forgot my brain is fried. I'm so inebriated. I forgot what I'm gonna say.
Dude, he beat Horiguchi.
Who cares if he beats Horiguchi? Okay, Horiguchi is chinnable. Horiguchi is chinnable.
He
That's
beat
the
Cape.
truth. He beat Cape. That was a robbery. That was a robbery.
I
Okay?
didn't watch that. Ogikubo.
Alright, Ogi Kubo. He lost to Tim Elliott. Sure, he
Oh,
beat
oh.
Pantoja.
Oh, he lost to Ogikubo.
Yeah, he lost. He also lost to Ogi Kubo. He's 1-1 with Koji. He's 1-1 with Hiramasa. He's
Oh.
1-1 with Manel Cape. And Manel Cape, it turns out, well, Manel Cape, he's got a lot of aura, but he misses weight a lot. He gets injured a lot, and he pulls out a lot, and he gets a lot of fights canceled. I'm pretty sure he says like really crazy stuff on the mic, like a lot of homophobic slurs, but that's not enough to win a UFC championship. Kai, right? I'm wondering if he can win a UFC fight at this point. So, I'm gonna pause the recording for just a bit. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. And, well, I sobered up just a little bit. And when it comes to Kai Asakura's abilities to win a UFC fight, I think he can still win a fight in the UFC. It's just not going to be against anybody who's ranked. I think he loses to, Loner Kavanaugh and Andre Lima, probably Jose Ochoa as well, like those guys. I think he gets chinned by Charles Johnson, or maybe knocked down and submitted. Yeah, I think that's what's gonna happen. Maybe... No. I think that at this point, I'm sure nobody's listening at this point. And I'm just going to end the video soon here. Okay, I'm going to end it in just a few more seconds. Kai Asakura needed to be training in America with UFC fighters. Okay? He did most of his training camp in Japan, where he was, surrounded by fans. He was surrounded by people that, thought that he was the best and all of that. And, if he was training in the U.S., he was training with at ATT or Extreme Couture or even Team Alpha Male. Well, I think he would have been pushed more. And the reason why I say that is because Kai Asakura in this fight, he just, as soon as Tim Elliott kind of locked, got a hold of his neck, Kai didn't fight the hands. Kai didn't do much. He just got spun around, guillotined, tapped out. And I feel like if he had just been training in an environment that was a little bit more uncomfortable, that would have made him just a little bit more hungry, right, for that UFC title, for that UFC gold that he said is the pinnacle of his career, that he said is the one thing that he wants. If he had just been in an environment that was just a little bit harder for him to exist in, where he would have been pushed by top caliber fighters, maybe the results would have been different. But yeah, I'm screwed. I'm still hammered. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this cope video of mine. Goodbye.